drug war, but mostly we have to end the war on cannabis because it just doesn't make any sense. We have lots of money going into this so-called war to arrest and prosecute people for smoking a plant and using a plant in a way that is beneficial to them, which I find really odd that in a country that says it's free, they want to put you in jail for practicing your freedoms. Ironic, isn't it? So you see, we got the sun out now because, as we all know, God loves stoners. And I'll leave it at that. I'm going to bring somebody up here. I'm going to say a few things about him before he comes on. I'm going to do a little bio about this guy here. His name is Jay Statzer. Jay Statzer started this event, and the thing about it is that he didn't have any money to invest. He had a few items. He had a bullhorn. He had a PA, but it was a real small-scale operation. In fact, we were set up across the street for many years, and we used to stand in the fountain across the street and speak. That was our stage. And basically, as you can see this year, we've got just such the greatest crowd right here. It seems like it's not as many people because last year this whole area had some bushes over here that they pulled out. So we have like twice as much space. At any rate, I'd like to hand this mic over to Jay Statzer to tell us a little more. Mr. Statzer, by the way, just got out of prison where he was incarcerated for marijuana. So we're going to let him tell you about it. Jay Statzer. Hello, everybody. So glad to be back. 14 years in this park, 15 years altogether. Detroit edition of the Global March for Cannabis Liberation. Back in 1998. I'm a big fan of Data B.O.B., the Ann Arbor Patch. And he told us he was having a little bit of trouble with the New York Pot Parade. And the New York Pot Parade had been going on in Washington, downtown New York, since 1968. Oldest continuing protest. What we're doing today is what Dana asked us to do in 19. He said, Giuliani doesn't want to let me have this march. And I say everyone should be able to have this march so that we can go back to Giuliani and say, well, if you can have this march, if you can have this spoken, this rally in Moscow, why can't you have it in New York City? If you can have it in Lansing, Michigan, or Detroit, like they did in 1999. I'm sorry, not Lansing, Detroit had one. In 2000. You could show New York and Giuliani that, hey, the Paris of the Northern Hemisphere can't do what they can do everywhere else in the world.
So what we're doing here is we're joining in solidarity with hundreds of locations. In some places there are protests, certainly most of the places in America there are protests. But in some countries there are celebrations. This annual event, caused them to legalize pot in London and then throughout England. This event caused them to legalize in so many parts of the world that
it may not look like much because we only have a couple booths or a couple organizations, but it's a huge event. It's a hippie holiday. We've declared for ourselves. We all declare ourselves and each other free for at least one day. And I tell my friends that drink a lot, they say, brother, please put the bottle down, and just for Liberation Day, come
to Grand Circus Park in Detroit and enjoy the day with your high. It's going to be everywhere. We're all smoking here. All use is medical use here. But I want to tell you, doing an event like this several years, you get a lot of bullseyes on your back. And I had no idea that I had the level of bullseye on my back that I did. One year, I got on this microphone, I believe it was 94. I got on the microphone here, talked about how the coin purse in your wallet is the last bastion of personal security in a stop and frisk situation. That same year, July 4th, at Washington DC for the smoking, they searched me and they went into the coin purse of my wallet. Never seen it happen before. So it's nice to know that people listen when you get up in public and speak and make a spectacle of yourself and play games with your reputation like I've been doing for the last decade or so. But then when I try to help Dana Field supply some of the first legal cannabis dispensaries that have ever existed in America, the cannabis clubs of New York City, and to try to provide for the patients in the first legally licensed cannabis distribution point in Washington, D.C., right under the noses of the DEA where they'd have to smell it every morning, they couldn't handle that. And they were watching my house, and the mistake I made was I parked my car at my house. They didn't bust me in Michigan. Not a jury in Michigan would have convicted me. They didn't bust me in Indiana, because my family has political connections in Indiana. I'm born in Indiana. So they busted me in Ohio. Crazy ass state. You'd think Ohio was cool. I thought Ohio was cool. But, a state where the paraphernalia gets you in more trouble than the pot that's in it.
What's that about?
A crazy state like that. That's where they bust me. And they line up a couple of K2 DEA-guided fools to pick me up acting like they made a big touchdown. And the DEA reading me my rights. Trying to get me to make a statement about Dana Beal or make a statement about activism. Just like knowing who I was. So they sent me to prison. I did time in Ohio for 1.5 years. I had a lenient judge. I had 185 pounds. I did time in Nebraska then for 1.5 years. Dana and I and a guy named Chris Ryan had like 280 pounds. Lenient judge again. Sucks anyways. You end up doing higher security time than you're supposed to do. And you come out wondering what the hell, your life just got turned upside down for. At least I didn't get entrapped for doing something that was legal, though. But what I had was legal where I started at a dispensary that provided it, and legal at the dispensaries where it was going. And I was the activist that had to run the gauntlet, because if you have a dealer run that gauntlet, he's going to mark it up. And so Obama said he was going to lay off the patients. And there are plenty of patients who aren't at this rally because they have it in their closets. They are conforming with a house arrest bill that we should have went for the whole enchilada at the time. Instead, we chose to put the patients on the front line and think, oh yeah, we'll rapidly come through and get the rest legal. We would have had it then had we done it. Now we're stuck with people that got to be paid for signatures. We're never going to get this unless we can get the 500 people necessary to go unpaid, door to door, get the signatures, and get it on the state initiative. Now we can't do it this time around. That's a real shame. But we got to do it the next time, the next cycle. And that's all I can ask. I'm a little distracted now because there's someone I want to talk to really bad. But the one thing I wanted to tell all the narcs, all the pigs, all the powers that be, all the people that are in favor of cannabis illegalization and putting people in prison for any stupid excuse over this plant, the only thing illegal you should be able to do with cannabis, my friends, is steal it from somebody.
Yeah!
Okay? But they put one activist in prison and 3 activists walked out.
That's right!
And I'm going to introduce you to a fella here that I did time with in Ohio. Matter of fact, that'll let me get off the mic gracefully too, so this is nice. Scott, thank you for bringing your camera.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And he's pissed too, and he has a friend who's down with L.E.A.P. L.E.A.P, again, was great to have some representation at this event. We used to have our police officers for drug law reform. I haven't seen them in a few years. But do I hand this? You want me to switch with you? I'll trade you a camera for a microphone.
Sure.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
All right. Introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, great to be here. Scot Polphenhaur. I'm going to tell you a little about L.E.A.P and why I'm here today. I've also spent many years as an addict and a user, and I'll tell you, after spending 8 or 9 or 10 years in forced recovery and all the other bad things that come along with law enforcement and recovery, I'm tired of it. That's why I'm here today. I'm glad to see everybody else that showed up. I guess the first thing I want to say about L.E.A.P is this: L.E.A.P is an organization of cops and addicts, peaceful users like myself, who are tired of the war on drugs. There's 15,000 of these police, these law enforcement individuals around the world, and we're carrying the message. We want all drugs legalized, and to piggyback on the marijuana thing, and there's a reason for that too, because we think that regulation would do much better for our cause than locking people up, locking up addicts and users. And I wasn't really quite prepared yet to speak, but anyway, glad to be here today, and I'll probably be up here in a few more minutes to say a couple more words once I talk to my good friend Jay, who I haven't seen in a couple years. So let me get my shit together here, and I'll be back talking in a minute. Thank you, everybody.
All right, brother.
All right.
I'm going to bring Maria Green up to the mic in a few minutes. Maria Green. I don't know if you've ever heard of Free Bree.
We're standing here talking.
Free Bree was a little thing that we had going on a while back where a child was